Tears of the Kingdom has so much going for it, it's impossible to cover everything. But I thought it would make an interesting video to focus on 24 random things I discovered while playing Tears of the Kingdom. Some of these might seem quite obvious, and some of them are a little obscure, but I'm going to talk about them anyway. So let's begin. The Blood Moon. When the moon turns red, that's called the Blood Moon, which is going to end up respawning all of the enemies. But did you know that you can still end up collecting ore and other various resources regardless of the Blood Moon, because they are going to be independent in when they reset, with a lot of them respawning as soon as you end up leaving the area and coming back. Setting things on fire. While it's pretty obvious you can set your arrows on fire with this plant, did you know that you can actually dip your arrows into a fireplace to set them on fire? TNT is fun. If you fuse TNT with your weapon or your shield, it's probably not a good idea unless you want to laugh. Gotcha. You can interact with these gotcha machines in the environment that'll end up giving you various zonai equipment that you can then use on the field. But at any time you can open your map and you can directly see what items are gotten out of the gotcha machine. Completing caves and shrines. When you enter a cave, if it doesn't have this little check mark, it means that there's still something that you can find in the cave, usually relating to a key item or a collectible. Shrines are similar to this, where their icon before you've actually completed them is going to look like this. Anything sus. This one seems a bit obvious, especially with all the memes coming out, but Koroks are going to be littering this entire game. If you ever end up seeing anything, and I mean anything, that looks even slightly suspicious, you should check it out, because it's more than likely going to be a Korok. The seeds that you get from these little guys can be exchanged for more weapon, shield, and bow slots. Get money. If you see a locked chest by an enemy camp, it usually means you have to kill everything in the area before you can open it. Flash no clip. Ascend is an amazing ability. So long as the ceiling is low enough, you can ascend through almost anything. The obvious ones is cliffs and platforms, but sometimes you can abuse the mechanics to get to higher areas to defeat enemies. Stealth 100. If you manage to sneak up behind an enemy without them spotting you, you can deal critical damage. Puff shrooms are one of the best items for this because it'll confuse most opponents. Rock and stone. While most rocks might look the same, they are slightly different from one another. The round boulders that you see in the environment can be fused with your weapon and used to great effect to mine ore, and if you go right up to the ore and use deflect, you'll actually smash the ore with your shield. Or the sharper rocks to create an axe to chop down trees. Block with two hands. If you attach a shield to a sword, you will be able to deflect with that weapon. One-handed weapons you can already use a shield, but this allows you to defend yourself while using two-handed weapons. Fire in the rain. One of the big issues with Breath of the Wild was that whenever you needed to set up a fireplace, rain would prevent the fire from lighting. But in Tears of the Kingdom, you can very easily just create a roof. The trees have eyes. Some trees will come alive to defend themselves. You'll have to use sharp objects to cut them down, and axes are still going to be the best. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. You can actually shield surf on mining rails, and if you combine your shield with a mine cart, you'll be able to shield surf on most surfaces very easily. The Matrix. While you're in the air, if you pull out your bow, you're going to end up triggering slow-mo. You can do this repeatedly so long as you have the stamina to do it. It's insanely helpful for hitting weak points on enemies. I'm hungry. The game tells you early on that all you need to do with food is drop it beside a fireplace to roast it. In most cases, this will end up making the food heal you for a little bit more, but a cooking pot will allow you to combine different ingredients for different effects. An old friend. When you come across your first horse stable, you will be able to capture horses in the environment and register them. But what you might not know is that any of the horses that you have registered in Breath of the Wild will carry over into Tears of the Kingdom. Elevator music. If you ever see one of these rocks fall from the sky, just hop on top of it and press recall. That's gotta hurt. Some of the sky islands will have this contraption. Just point it in the right direction, stand on the platform, and get launched really far. Help me. If you find yourself overwhelmed by enemies, just throw a Dazzle Fruit at them. It's a great way of stun locking them and giving you some breathing room. Horse Carriage. I hope this one's not too much of a spoiler, but the first reward for your horse points is going to be the towing harness. This allows you to attach your own creations to your horse. Jenga. If you ever end up seeing this guy holding up a sign, you'll want to build something to hold it up, tell him to let go, and get some nice rewards. Oh, thank God. You don't have to slowly tilt the analog stick to sneak up on bugs and stuff. You just have to be crouched, and you can literally spam jump towards them. Social distancing. If you ever end up saving an NPC from an enemy, you should probably talk to them. Usually they'll give you a reward of either an item or information. The end. Anyways, that's gonna do it for me. There still is a lot to discover, and if this is a video you're interested in, I could do this again in the future. But for the time being, this was just a fun little project of things that I wanted to share, and honestly took such an absurd amount of time to edit. I don't know if the payoff was worth it.